day 12 of 14 days of mental repositioning. Ah, gradually, we're bringing this to a close, and that's really, really exciting. I always start with excitement. I'm sure you already know that, and that's because I'm genuinely excited, and that's because of I know that the things that you're receiving here are very, very, very resourceful, and if you get to apply these things, there's a whole lot that would begin to happen over time, right? There's a whole lot that begins to happen over time, and that's going to change a lot of things. Um, okay, I'm feeling like I should adjust the view of this. So, give me a second. Let me adjust this so that you can. It's closer. Oh, just give me a second. Okay. Now I think we have it there. Okay. So, pending in time that I don't have someone helping with this, so I'm going to have to do all this myself. All right. So, what are we looking at today? We're looking at think others, not self. Think others, not self. And because of how much I have to share with you, I wouldn't want to take so much time, right? So, I've looked at so many things, I've considered quite a number of things, and I realized that if we get to discuss and understand this topic of selfishness, and we're looking at comparisons here, don't forget, we're looking at the superior mindset as against the inferior. So, see it as though what I'm asking you to think about is is a mindset that's responsible for progress. It's a mindset that is responsible for progress. So you're not looking at it as something abstract. It is something you can apply. It's something that you experience every day. You might have expressed this sometimes, but then it's something you want to do every time. A mindset you want to have. And that's why we've been looking at so many comparisons, a whole lot of them. If you implement these things that you are listening to, I can assure you there's going to be a difference. It's going to be a different experience, a whole different experience. So I want to give you an activity to do. I want to give you something to do right now. I want you to think about, rate your generosity from 1 to 10. Think about it and rate your generosity from a 1 to 10. Let me give you time to do that. So rate your generosity from 1 to 10. What do you think? 1 being the least and 10 being the most. And I want you to think about why, whatever score you give to yourself, why do you say so? Like, why do you agree with that? Why exactly? Why exactly? Why do you give yourself that score? And I can assure you that it might be because of some experiences, some moments that you've had. And then being generous is not necessarily, doesn't necessarily have to do with money. It's more of an attitude than an action. It's more of like a mindset. It's more of a mindset, and this that we're discussing this morning is the mindset that sponsors generosity. It's not about the action of just giving to gratify um, that's there's a way we feel when we do things that are good. So we just sometimes we do those things because we want to feel that way, like, after all, I'm not so much of a bad human, I did this. But I'm talking about something that becomes a way of life, an attitude, a lifestyle. But then this is sponsored by mindset, and that's what we're looking at. So we're looking at think others, not self. Think others, not self. So let's look at it. What do we have for today? As I was preparing this, a lot of things was coming to mind, and I made sure to put them down. Humans were created as social beings, and this means that amongst This means many things, and amongst which is that your actions or inactions do not end at you. So think of the whole of humanity as a social network, as the as a social network. Every single person connected with one another, like a web. Everybody is connected to another. So one action that you make affects the person around you. So it doesn't end at you. Think about that always. Your actions or inactions do not end at you. So you must not be the kind of person who only considers or does stuff as far as you are fine with it. You must learn to factor in the reality that your actions or inactions affect at least two people. At least. That's in the least form. In the least form. Affects at least two people. So your choices affect others, whether significantly or insignificantly. You know, one of the things that I use to measure morality is how much you factor in the effect of your actions on other people. Because if you base morality on what I don't feel bad about it, that may not justify the action. But when you think about how does this make another person feel, and you put yourself in their shoes, that's empathy. You put yourself in their shoes. It makes more sense to you what you should do and what you shouldn't do. So you must learn to be inclusive in your thoughts, in your actions, because every single action of yours affects at least two people around you. That's at least, and that's not even, that's the least, right? Affects somebody. So think of it as not self. When you're busting out in emotions, when you have a desire to go after something, and it cuts across every single thing I'm teaching you, cuts across every front, cuts across your spirituality, cuts across finances, sorry, cuts across relationships. So you must learn to do that. So in making decisions, do not be consumed in the outcome favoring just you. All right. You should also consider the impact and the effect on others. So do not just be concerned that, oh, I'm fine with it and there's no problem. You must be concerned with the impact, the effect of that action on other people. This is the way this is the way you should think. Be concerned. So don't be the kind of person who just sees, oh, that's not my business. Then let him deal with it. Let her deal with it. No, you don't do that. Let him deal with it. You want to make the world a better place and you want to contribute your quota. So you being insensitive to the impact of your actions on other people becomes um it would not it would it will be far from making the world a better place. So one thing I usually think about whenever it is this discussion comes to my mind is, or whenever I'm about to make decisions, take actions, I think about it. Timothy, if everyone was doing the same thing, how would this place look like? Imagine if everyone would respond the way you respond. So imagine what's it going to look like? What's it going to be like? Would it be comfortable? Would it? Obviously not. Obviously not, right? So in making decisions, do not be consumed in the outcome favoring you. Also consider the impact and effect on others. And I've come to a conclusion and I realized that at the base of every vice, there is selfishness. At the base, the root cause of vices, of crimes, of actions, of things that hurtful actions is selfishness. Selfishness. When a man focuses on himself and his needs without considering the effect on others, whatever action he will take would be a picture of selfishness. So I realized that, that just think about it. When a person wakes up in the morning, goes on plans that later in the night with his guys, they'll go rob a house. And then they get to the house, they rob, they see a lady there, they rape, and then they disappear. Now, that's an action of selfishness because you all you're concerned about is I need money and I need to satisfy my urge. So without factoring the effect on people, even as a teacher, When you're in school, you're concerned that every single thing I do affects this child because I become a model to this child, and I also get the privilege to contribute a quota to the memories, childhood memories, which can actually affect this child as an adult. Some people who are struggling with some things such as self-esteem had this thing started while they were young from a class teacher who tampered with it. So when you're consistently moving around thinking, what is the impact of my actions on other people? You will make better decisions. You will. It doesn't just affect even negative things, but now you're seated there as a young man, whiling away time, doing the worst of things you can. And then eventually you become a father. If you were thinking of your impact on other people, you would make sure, because it's a cute human being that produces a good child. What do I mean by that? Children follow examples. So if you have the mind that one day you're going to be a father, you're thinking, would I want to model or reproduce someone like me? And you're thinking of that in respect to the effect on the society. So, in relationships as well, you're thinking, okay, what can I do to help this person? When people get into relationships, they're always looking at what can I get? What can I get? Not thinking, what can I give? So if you begin to think about what can I give, how can I impact, what can I do, what can I make better, I tell you, you will make better decisions. Your decisions would not be one-sided. Better decisions. So selfishness also can be replaced with the word self-centeredness. So like you're the center of attraction in your life. At least it cuts. There's so many examples that I could give in my head, but I believe that as we go on, some of these things will come at me. So I wrote some things down here. What exactly makes people selfish? Why do we become selfish? Like why how is it possible that we can be selfish? Even in very extreme cases. These things I mentioned seems like very small scenarios, but they are very extreme cases. Why? Why do people become selfish? Even in business, you're concerned about your profits much more than you're concerned about the satisfaction of the user. Even though economics tells us that, or maybe business principles, the customer is always right, or keep the customer at the center of your business, we are doing that with a mindset. We just want to rip off, see how much you can get from this. That's why I see people who go the extra length to sell fake things. They're concerned about their money. Maybe a builder who has been given some amount of money, a contract, and then he goes around buying substandard materials because he wants to keep some change to himself. He wants to keep some change to himself. And then he's not concerned that, okay, bro, if you build this house with these substandard materials, something can happen and this house can collapse. If people are inside the house, you are the one responsible for their death. But all those things don't come to his mind. He's blinded by the fact that, oh my God, more money, more money. So you are the center, and if you're living a self-centered life, you will take many actions that would disturb and endanger the lives of those around you. Yes. So why what makes people selfish? Number one, a survival instinct. I think that's the number one cause, a survival instinct. You know, we want to survive. We want to, and it's like I'm imagining it like a world that is, it's like you're in a race. There's this game I got to play, Mini Militia, many years back. I don't know if that game still exists. Mini Militia. There was a survival. In this kind of games, there will be survival modes. Like you have to shoot around and all those things. So in the survival mode, the thing is you must be alive. So for you to stay alive, kill as many as you can. Kill as many as you can. And this is where that those statements come up. Statements like the street is not smiling, or in the street you don't dull. It's dog eat dog, eat or be eaten. Things like that. Like you are the one at the center of your life, not thinking about other people. And it may look like, oh, it makes sense, but that's how the world has painted things to be. If you would live a different life, trust me, that's not the route to go. If your mindset is dog eat God, do me, I do you, man no go vex, right? I tell you, it's not going to be the best because it's going to come back at you. It's like a boomerang. Because somebody somewhere else would also be willing to eat you just so they can be full. Do not live a self centered life. Take your eyes off yourself for a moment. And that's where pushes and propagandas as such do not make sense because you're saying things like, oh, um, put yourself first, put yourself first. I understand that in some cases there's a context to that, but I'm talking about in a generic sense and generic approach to living. Don't put yourself first. That's not the way of love. Love is not self centered, love is not focused on self. Matter of fact, for love to be truly love, it must have an object which is not the giver. It must have an object. So it's that survival instinct where you want to get things at all costs, even though you hurt someone else. I get it. I understand you. I understand that the resources are not enough. I understand that many things may not be there. I understand that. But then you want to think about the impact of your actions on other people. And I'm going to say something as we go on. So the second reason is the fear and insecurity. So the fear that, oh, it's not enough, just like I said earlier, that is not enough, so you're concerned, or economics tells us that human wants are insatiable and the resources are limited. So there is a tendency to want to get as much as you can, or not even give because you feel that it's going to finish. So you don't even want to deplete yourself because you want to replenish somebody else. So you're becoming conservative, and that can push you to a very dangerous extreme. So fear and insecurity. Another reason also is the lack of empathy. A lack of empathy. A lack of empathy talks about your inability to see things from other people's perspective, your inability to step into the shoes of other people and view life. Because you are engulfed in yourself, you never realize how much things are affecting people. And if you're that kind of person, if you're someone who is not empathetic, you cannot be a good leader. Because leadership is beyond just occupying a position, it's an ability to lead people from their point of view. And what I mean by that is you are able to relate. You know, every leaders that find it hard to relate to the struggles of the people they are leading would not lead their people well. For example, in the scripture, the son of Solomon, that's his name, Rehoboam, right? So the elders came to him and told him that, see, please, your father was very heavy on us with taxes and all those things, but can you lighten this burden for us? So he told the elders, okay, I'm going to get back to you guys in 3 days. So he went and consulted the counselors of his father at the time. And then they told him that, see, if you want these people to be in your favor, you want them to be submitted to you, look at it from, it's hard on them. It's a struggle for them. Some of them are barely surviving. So consider their request, even if it's a bit. He said, okay, that's fine. He now called his friends that they grew up together and they gave him a foolish counsel. Don't mind them, increase it. Tell them that, oh, you're going to be worse, you're going to do more than his father did. And then what was the result of that? As a result of that foolish decision, that inability to be empathetic, what happened to him? He lost 10 out of 12 cities. Out of 12 tribes, he lost 10. That's a colossal loss simply because one person was selfish. He was thinking about how much taxes and revenues will come to the king's quarter, him being the king. So he was like, okay, it's my turn now, I must have as much. So, but what did that do to him? He lost 10 tribes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and just had 2 left because somebody failed to be empathetic. So, in your quest for things focused on yourself alone, you even get to lose more things. So I've seen people who want to get things at all costs eventually lose more. There's a book Proverbs that says that there is he that scattereth and tended and increaseth, but there's the one who holds more than is needed and he tends to penury. So he says that the soul of the liberal shall be made fat, but the one who is you're conserving, you're not even considering anybody. It's me, myself, and I. So just like the guy who says, "My name is Jimmy, and I'll take all you give me." It's not about you. Sometimes step out of yourself. So fear and insecurity is something that also makes people selfish. The third reason, okay, fourth reason. Okay, I said lack of empathy. Now the fourth reason, past experiences, and this I understand this, but it doesn't validate it. Past experiences, probably in times past, you've been so generous, so good, but then people took it for granted. I've had someone talk to me about something like that, and I told him, I said, do not let the inability of people to appreciate generosity stop you from the blessings of generosity, from the blessings of considering other people. So what was happening was just that you were investing in the wrong places, or you're dealing with people who do not appreciate. So you don't have to continue with them. Do not stop the action. Change the recipient. All right. Maybe in time past, you've had people who did not appreciate your generosity, did not appreciate your kindness. It doesn't mean that kindness is not a good thing. It doesn't mean that being kind is being foolish, or that being kind is you setting up yourself for being taken for granted. Listen to me. If you would live the best and enjoy that peace that comes with these good attributes, you would have to continue in it. There will always be those kinds of people who do not appreciate things like that. So it's fine. Now, the fifth reason why people are selfish is there's an entitlement mentality. When you feel like the world revolves around you, my sister, my brother, that's not true. The world does not revolve around you. You're not the center of attraction. So do not feel like everything must be given to you, everything must happen to you. So when people have an entitlement mentality, they become selfish because you feel like everyone should, the spotlight should be on you. That's not good. Now, the sixth reason, which is the last I have here, what makes people selfish? And habits. Just developing that habit of no, no, I can't give, I can't give. I mean, from a young age, eventually it would affect you. It would affect you. And let me tell you something. Whatever it is that you are right now, in it would only amplify. Some people say that if I have more money, I'll be more generous. More money will just amplify your character. That's what it does. If you're generous, it's going to amplify. If you're not, it's going to amplify. So if you cannot start even with the little that you have, trust me, you will not be able to do anything else. So I want to give you three concepts to thinking others, not self. So number one, there's abundance in the sky for everyone to fly. There is abundance in the sky for everyone to fly. So there is enough space. I thought about it. I was having a meditation one time and I thought about it. I was like, my goodness, there's so much space in the sky that we haven't heard of two birds clashing in the air. So what it simply means is that you are rising doesn't mean somebody else should go down. It doesn't mean that for you to climb up, somebody must come down. That is not true. It isn't. While it's true that in some cases, I mean, someone has to die for the coffin seller to make money. Someone should be sick for the doctor to be rich. A man's car must break down for the mechanic to feed his family. Whilst those things exist in yourself, you do not wish other people bad so you can have good. That's semi witchcraft. You must have a mindset that thinks about everybody can fly. Everybody. Everybody can fly. So as a mechanic, you're not thinking of how can I get more money from this guy. So as you are fixing the radiator, you are spoiling the gearbox. Now you comes back again. That's selfishness. Selfishness. Or as a doctor, as you're treating somebody, you are causing another symptom so the person can come back. And that is wickedness. So think others, not self. Be focused, be people conscious in terms of helping out. So there's enough space in the sky. So you don't have to, someone doesn't have to come down for you to climb up. There's enough space for everyone to fly. Now, the second concept is the golden rule. The golden rule. The golden rule talks about this. Do to others what you would have others do unto you. Simple as that. Do to others what you have others do to you. So if you would not like that action done to you, don't do it to other people. Simple. So that's a way of thinking of other people. They don't just think that, oh, it's fine with me and that's fine. No. Think about other people. Do to others what you would have others do to you. And the third concept I have here is freely give because you freely received. That sounds familiar, right? The words of Jesus. He says, freely have you received, freely give. So when you think about how much has been given to you from God Himself, that sponsors your attitude of giving to others. We give because he gave. And this is not restricted to money alone, right? It isn't. It talks about, it's a lifestyle, it's an attitude. It's an attitude of thinking of others. You're seated in the bus, and all of a sudden a woman comes in who is pregnant and there's no more seats. When you're thinking of others, not self, you can validate and say, oh, my legs are tired, I've been walking a long distance, I can't stand for so long. But then you deny yourself and say, oh, this woman needs it more. And you tell her to sit and you stand. That's thinking of others, not self. Thinking of others, not self. So, in many areas, I want you to apply these things to your own personal life and look at where you can make adjustments. So, how can you become selfless? How can you become selfless? Number one, see giving as an investment. Learn to see giving as an investment that you do not decide who returns it. I'll say that again. See giving as an investment that you do not decide who returns it. So don't just why I put that balance is so that you're not just doing actions, being generous with the mind that someone is going to do it to me too. If you do that, you might you're doing it from the wrong place because it's still focused on you. Do it completely and absolutely because of the recipient, not because of how it's going to come back to you. So see it as an investment. You do not decide who returns it. Now I'm talking about how to become selfless. See giving as an investment. You do not decide who returns it. You don't. Now, the second thing you must keep in mind how to become selfless is that what leaves your hand hasn't left your life. Now, that's like a follow up of the first one. So don't feel like I'm giving, and I see honestly, I can tell you quite a number of experiences I've had, a lot, in terms of being generous. It comes back to you one way or another, and you don't decide who does it. So this prevents you from looking at, oh, the kind of person this, okay, you're looking at, okay, this person can, this person will be able to return it someday. That's not it. That's just self, to people who may not be able to repay you back in any way. There was a time I was in school, and then I walked into my building, that is academic building. I was studying mechanical engineering. I studied mechanical engineering, and I walked in, and I saw this woman. She was one of the campus keepers, and she was looking really sad. I could just, what's my business? I could just go into the class, but I couldn't just leave her that way. So I walked up to her and asked her, okay, what's going on, ma? What's happening? And then as she began to talk, she began to cry. Apparently, her son doesn't have enough money to get back into school. And that touched me deeply because I was in school and I could tell how that guy would feel not having enough. I knew it. I didn't have enough capacity to help that woman all by myself, but I sort of had influence. I was a course rep at that time. So I went into the class and I told everyone, I said, guys, can we help this woman? Whatever it is you can raise. So I dropped my account number and people started sending money. So when it was done, I packed everything. I went to give it to her. This woman was so filled with joy. She was she was so filled with joy. I mean, this is not someone who I think can repay me. I mean, in my own little or let me say from my little mindset, I didn't think I wasn't doing because, oh, she was maybe say a lecturer or whatever, that she was going to help me in my grades. She had no effect on me in any way. But one thing that began to happen was that every time I got into school and she saw me, she will assist in carrying my things. I mean, for those of you who, the distance between the car drops to where your hostel is, I mean, it's a long, so she will assist in helping me do all those things. Anytime she sees me, she will pray for me, thank me for that day. And that was just enough for me. That guy may never know me, that's her son, may never see me in his entire life. But something has been done. And the same thing to those other people who contributed. So you don't determine who returns it. So what leaves your life doesn't hasn't left your leave your hand doesn't leave your hand leave your life. Number three, how to become selfless. Generosity is the antidote to greed. So one way to become selfless is to plan your generosity. Plan it. Plan for it. Plan for it. Okay, I'm going to give this amount to this. And not just even in giving alone. In things. In things. In attitudes. In gestures. Think about it. Be conscious of people. Be conscious of how it affects them. Be very conscious, all right? And number four, be conscious of people's needs and do something about it, no matter how small. Be conscious of people's needs and do something about it, no matter how small. And the final thing I want to say is this: to give you perspective on how to be selfless, how to think others, not self. There are five kinds of value. There is spiritual, there is financial, there's emotional, physical, and intellectual value. Spiritual value talks about supporting another person's growth. You see a believer struggling, support them. You see someone lost in sin, trying to struggling through, pray for them, assist them in prayers, encourage them. Financial value, which is the most, what we know the most, but it's beyond just even the giving of money. So, all right, so it's not just about money alone, but financial value also is there. Emotional value, this is when you get to contribute, make people feel good, comment. All right, look at somebody and comment on their outfits. Oh, you look so good, your dress is beautiful. Put a smile on their face, make people feel good, make them feel important. Be caring, be concerned about how they look, how they are, how they feel. Go the extra mile. All right. Physical value, how can you support, what service can you render, how can you assist this person's progress? You see someone carrying something, how can you help? Volunteer to help. And intellectual, this is like what I'm doing right now, so giving you, supplying you with things that help you and sponsor your journey, right? So if you apply these things, I tell you, you feel better, you feel it flows in you a sense of purpose. Purpose starts from when you stop looking at yourself and you start thinking of other people. And this is something people get wrong about purpose. They still consider themselves. Nothing exists for itself, including you. All right? This mic I'm using is not amplifying a voice of its own, it's amplifying my voice. The phone I'm using right now to film is not filming itself. You don't even know what color the phone is. But then you can see it's helping me. So nothing exists for itself, nothing. So you also stop existing for yourself. Start thinking of impact, start thinking of posterity, think of what to do, think of how you can help other people. Start thinking others, not self. All right. I believe you've learned quite a number of things. And if you've watched to this point, I want you to comment in the section what you learned. Let me know what part of this struck you, what part of this stood out to you. And do well to share this with a friend, with a family member. And I'll have a goal. I want to get up to 100 subscribers before the month of March expires. I believe that is possible, but it's possible with you. So please do all to share this. If there's anything you've received so far, do all to share this. All right, I'll see you. We have just 3 days, day 13. Oh, just two. Wow, that's nice. Day 13 and day 14. Just 2 days left. And these 2 days are going to be super, super exciting. So I'm the Rabbi, the number one cheerleader, always cheering you, all right? Always, always cheering you. And I count it a great privilege to be that person who helps you, who reconciles you with purpose. And I've supplied you with mindsets that would help you do that. All right, I'll be seeing you again tomorrow. Till then, stay close. Have a great day.